I used to think I was the luckiest girl in the world. 3 years together, endless promises, talk of the future, everything seemed perfect. Until it wasn't. The day he dumped me was the worst day of my life. He called me into his apartment looking all serious and without so much as a "we need to talk" kind of setup. He just blurted it out. "I think we should break up. I've been thinking about it for a while and I just don't feel the same anymore." There was no real explanation, just a cold, emotionless delivery of something that should have been so much more. I couldn't even look him in the eye. I begged him to tell me why, to give me something, some reason, but he just shrugged, barely looking up from his phone. "It's not you, it's me. I think we're just growing apart." That was it, growing apart. How could we be growing apart when I was so involved in everything we were building? The trips, the late-night talks, the dreams we had, all of it, gone in an instant. I spent the next few days in complete denial, constantly replaying that moment in my mind, trying to figure out what I had done wrong. I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I had loved him so much, and yet it didn't seem to matter. But then, the anger came. It simmered slowly at first, like a quiet storm inside of me, until one day I realized something. I wasn't going to be that person who let their ex walk all over them. No, I was going to show him. I was going to make him regret this. But I wasn't going to do it the typical way. I wasn't going to cry on social media or post angry, passive-aggressive memes. That would have been too easy. I wanted something more satisfying. See, my ex wasn't just any guy. He was a tech startup CEO, always going on about how his company was the next big thing, always boasting about how business savvy he was. He'd get on my nerves, constantly talking about market share, profitability, and how his app was going to revolutionize the industry. It used to annoy me, but I had an idea that would change everything. I had a knack for business too, and I knew exactly where his app was lacking. It wasn't that his concept was bad. In fact, it was decent. But the execution was clunky, the design was outdated, and the marketing, terrible. I'd watched him struggle with it for months, watched him pour money into ads that never really reached the right audience, watched him get frustrated when his user base plateaued. I had been there for every late-night rant about how he was going to blow up any day now, but I always knew the truth. His app wasn't ready for the big leagues. But what if I could give him a taste of his own medicine? I started doing my research. I didn't waste any time crying over the breakup. Instead, I was crafting something better. I spent weeks learning everything I could about his industry, the user experience, and most importantly, the holes in his business model. I wasn't going to just create a competing app. I was going to create an improved version of what he was already doing, something sleek and efficient, something people would want to use. I wasn't going to destroy his company directly. No, I was going to take his customers, his pride, and his market share from underneath him. I worked in silence. I learned how to design a better user interface, how to build a smoother app, and how to market it better than he ever could. I hired a few freelance developers, put together a lean team, and within 2 months, I had a working prototype. It was almost laughable how much more intuitive and user-friendly mine was compared to his. Then came the fun part, getting it out into the world. I created a brand. I called it something similar to his, just enough for people to recognize the connection. I made sure my app looked almost identical to his in concept, but better in every way that mattered. Sleeker design, faster load times, and better customer service. I reached out to influencers and small tech bloggers who were all too eager to try out a new app in the space. I didn't make a big splash. I let the app speak for itself. By the time my app launched, his downloads had plateaued and mine were shooting through the roof. It didn't take long for the media to catch on. Tech bloggers started comparing the two apps side by side. My app got the edge in almost every category, and before he knew it, I had a customer base that was growing exponentially. I watched as he started to scramble. He posted desperate updates on social media, promising new features and improved functionality, but it was too little, too late. People were already migrating to mine. He started texting me, then calling, then stalking my social media, trying to figure out what I was doing. It was honestly pathetic. I let him stew in his frustration for a few weeks, but eventually I got a text from him. "Hey, I've been seeing your app all over the place. What's going on? I thought we were cool. Are you trying to put me out of business?" I almost laughed when I read it. He thought he could guilt-trip me into feeling bad. So I took my time crafting the perfect response. "Funny how things work out, huh? It's just business. I guess it's true what they say. If you don't evolve, you get left behind. Good luck with your app." He texted back immediately, begging to meet up, but I didn't respond. I wasn't interested in seeing him anymore. I had everything I needed. A few months later, his company was struggling so badly that he had to sell it to a competitor at a fraction of the price it was worth. Meanwhile, my app was thriving, and the satisfaction I got from watching his failure was indescribable. I didn't need to rub it in his face. I didn't even need to talk to him. I had won without ever having to raise my voice. My revenge wasn't just about taking him down. It was about proving that I didn't need him to succeed, and more importantly, showing him that no one walks away from me without consequences. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is to build something better, something that makes them wish they'd never let you go.